Hi, and welcome to the SaVeg Podcast. I'm Rose, and I'm a content creator going by the handle Cheap Lazy Vegan, and I also own a vegan cafe by the same name as the podcast, which is SaVeg Cafe.
And I'm Daniel, also a vegan, and one of your favorite guest stars on Cheap Lazy Vegan's YouTube channel.
We're two friends currently living in different countries, and we'll be giving our savage take on all things life, veganism, and the latest trending topics.
So basically, whatever comes to our minds, because we love to talk.
You are currently listening to the previous episode of this podcast, but if you would like to listen to this week's episode and get some exclusive content, go over to patreon.com/thesavagepodcast. Hello, everybody. Welcome back to another episode of the SaVeg Podcast.
Hey, guys. It's Daniel coming at you from Canada now. Woo!
Oh, shit. We need to change our intro.
I just thought of that. Just thought about that.
We'll do that later. Ain't nobody got time.
Ain't nobody got time for that right now. God damn.
Well, you have all the time.
I mean, I do. I have 14 days of quarantine.
Oh, goddamn.
So
Today is it day 2 now?
I think technically, yes. I want to count it as day 3.
Are you counting the day that you arrived as day 1?
Yes.
Are you allowed to do that? And
No.
Daniel, I actually heard something that is interesting.
Okay. Let's hear it.
So Daniel, you flew from Spain, so Madrid to Amsterdam, Amsterdam to Toronto, and then you stayed one night in Toronto, and then you flew back to Calgary, correct?
That is correct, yeah.
I heard something that when you arrive in Calgary, you're actually supposed to, or not Calgary, when you arrive in Canada, you're actually supposed to quarantine for 2 weeks.
Like where you arrive?
Yes.
Yeah.
Did you know this, Daniel?
No. Well, I heard like as soon as you arrive, you're supposed to quarantine. But at the same time, there's no direct flights from Europe to Calgary. So like it's impossible.
Yeah, but so for example, my brother's friend, apparently, because this is how I found out.
Yeah.
So my brother's friend was, again, flying back from wherever, and he flew back to Toronto first, because again, you said there's no direct flights to Calgary, but he had to quarantine in Toronto for 2 weeks.
What?
So I think you went above the law, Daniel.
Oh, God damn. That'd be scary. Let's not say that on this podcast. This is public information. I'm going to be arrested.
Oh,
I thought it was fine. I thought because there's a lot of other people. Like if I could have, I would have booked a flight like the same day. So I wouldn't have to leave the airport and I would have just gone to Calgary. But like I had to, there was no flight. So I had to book one for the next day. So I don't know. I guess I broke the law. But
legally, apparently, you were supposed to quarantine in Toronto.
I was shocked. I'm actually really shocked when I arrived because my story's a bit like complicated, like living in the UK, living in Spain. Now I'm coming back. I was like mentally prepared to be detained. I was like, for sure, they're going to pull me aside for questioning. Like this is going to happen as soon as I arrive. And it didn't happen. And I was like,
so what happened in Toronto? So like nobody really cared?
No, they did. Like they still asked me questions and stuff. They're like, "Oh, so what is your quarantine plan? Are you exhibiting any symptoms of like fever or whatever else?"
What did you tell them when they asked you what's your quarantine plan?
I said I'd be going to Calgary to my parents' house and I'd be quarantining there, and they didn't say anything.
They didn't care. Oh, no. Okay.
So
I feel like no one knows what the hell they're doing.
This is the thing. I think it's because like again, it's like very like. A little bit like convoluted. I think even the like law enforcement and people that are supposed to be like the rules are like people don't really know exactly what they should be doing. So, but you would think that like an immigration officer would be like, they would know their shit, right? So, by the way, something I found out today, which is really annoying. I think I already texted you this, but
what did you find out?
So basically one of my plans when I arrived was to basically just like get tested right away if I could. So I was like talking to my parents and they called like Alberta Health Services for me to find out, how I book a test. Like if I get tested and it comes up negative, does it mean I still have to quarantine? And they said I could get a test if I wanted. Because everyone can get tested now, I guess. And then they said, though, even if I get tested and it comes back negative, I still have to complete this 14-day quarantine. So I was like...
Yeah, I told you, Daniel.
I know. So I'm just like, there's no point...
You didn't listen to me when I told you.
There's no point in me getting tested right now. Like, there's just no point. I might as well just sit here in my parents' basement and live my best life.
So they didn't even test your temperature? Or did they test your temperature?
No, they did. They tested my temperature as well. Yeah, they had like a little temperature gun. Just to see if I was having a fever or anything like that. So, yeah, they were a little bit
I do feel like maybe Canada's a bit lax. Like they're a bit like, I don't know.
Yeah.
I feel like they could be a bit stricter.
I think so as well. Like, I don't know. I just feel like, and I said this to you already, but like when I got here as well, like so many people, like when I was at the hotel and like when I was going through the airport and stuff, people just seemed really like nonchalant about the masks. Like they just didn't really seem to care.
No one wears. This is the problem. Like nobody really wears masks. I mean, yeah, some people wear masks, more so in the grocery stores, but there's not like a direct guide being like, you should be wearing a mask when you're doing this. Like it's more like, oh, masks are recommended. Come on, Canada, like grow some balls. Like tell people that they need to wear a mask.
I was shocked when I heard that Calgary Transit is handing out masks. Like they're handing out 200,000 masks or something to people to recommend that they wear them, but it's not mandatory on transit. And I was like,
it should be 100% mandatory on transit.
Exactly. If you're riding a bus or on a train in an enclosed space, you 100% should be wearing a mask. Like I just don't understand why people are. It's
like why? Oh, people are so annoying.
Yeah. So
it should 100% be mandatory. 100%, especially if they're giving out the masks.
Exactly.
So
they're literally, people are getting them for free, so they're not even have to pay for them. Like this is one thing where I was like, in Spain they actually like had their shit together a little bit, because they basically were like,
well, after the fact.
Yeah, after the fact. They were like, basically if you want to ride public transit, or if you're going shopping in any store that's enclosed, like a clothing store, grocery store, you have to wear a mask or you will not be allowed in that store.
Right.
And if you
it makes sense.
Exactly. And if you take off the mask in the store, they'll kick you out. Simple.
Yeah.
Like you have no choice.
Yeah. I don't understand, but I mean, whatever.
Yeah.
I mean, like considering the fact that we're a pretty small country in terms of population and we're such a big country in terms of geography, we have a lot of cases.
Yeah.
Do you know what I'm saying? It's like for a country that's this big geographically, you know, we have a lot of cases. So,
exactly. And if you think about it, like, even like you mentioned, even the point is like, look at our cities and how they're structured. Like other than a few of the big cities, like we're pretty sparsely populated. Like even in Calgary, if you're not living downtown, pretty much the rest of the Calgary is like living in like houses that are like spread apart. You know what I mean? Like, so
people are not that close together.
Exactly.
So how is everyone getting it?
Exactly. Because in Spain, it made sense because like even in the cities, it's like the way that the cities are set up, and in Spain and a lot of other countries I've been to in Europe, it's like they don't have so much of this like houses with the picket fence and the grass garden. They're all in like these kind of apartment complexes.
Yeah.
Like a lot of them until you get outside of the city. But like in the main part of the city, it's like that. And you could see why in that circumstance people would get it. And also everyone like communicates, and it's very social around these like plazas and centers like of like in the middle of like these buildings and stuff. So it's very easy to see how it would transmit faster in those places. Like Italy, it doesn't shock me that it exploded there, and in Spain as well, because it's like,
and they're
look
very
at the
touchy,
cultures there.
you know, they do the kissing of the, you know, the cheeks or whatever.
Exactly.
You know, there's a lot of like, you know, hugging, a lot of kissing of the cheeks,
a lot of touching.
So
I'm gonna miss that. I'm gonna miss being touched, you know.
Well, I mean, ain't nobody gonna touch you for at least 14 days.
God damn. God damn, that'd be sad as hell.
How you feeling during quarantine?
I mean,
so far
it's okay. I mean, I thought the weather would be nicer because it was supposed to be really nice today.
Oh my god, right? Ridiculous. The weather is so shit, and it's gonna be shit. So at least, I mean, the weather's gonna be shit. So you're not missing out on much. I feel like I would feel worse if I was quarantined and the weather was really nice.
Yeah, it's just that my parents have like a really big backyard, so I was kind of hoping to like go out in the backyard and like tan and you know, and work out back there. I'm like so determined to work out, but like so far I've done nothing except for eat.
Well, you've only been here for like 2 days.
Yeah, but still, you know, I just feel like
I think it's okay to kind of lay low for a few days and like, you know, don't push yourself. Okay, you're probably jet lagged.
True.
And you don't want to be too tired, because then you're gonna push yourself, and your immune system is not going to be very strong. You know what I'm saying?
It's going to be compromised, and then I'm going to get the COVID. God. I'll be scared as all hell.
Oh, God. So, oh, my God. You're in Canada. This is crazy.
It's so nuts.
We're in the same country.
I know.
This like never happens.
I know. Like, well, it's happened a few times in our friendship. You know, we were in the UK together.
That was the last time.
I know, that's true. And
when I was living in the UK. Yeah.
And it's been how long? Like, seriously?
4 years.
God damn, 4 years.
Yeah, because I moved out of the UK in 2016.
Yeah.
So it's been 4 years.
Oh, God damn, Rose. Now we'd be kind of virtually reunited.
We'd be reunited in about 2 weeks. God damn.
We were thinking we're going to do like a, you know, we're going to have to figure out how we're going to even like film the podcast. Because like if we're both here.
Yeah, it's going to be a different situation.
Yeah, because everything's going to change. But I think it'll be fun, like we were kind of talking about, to do like a celebration drunken episode that we're back in the same city.
Well, everyone wants us to do another drunken episode. So I think the next one we do, the first one we do when we are actually physically together, we will do a drunken episode.
So we'll do it in like the evening. We'll plan something, and then maybe after the podcast we can socially distance in a pub somewhere as well after.
Yes, I mean, well, pubs are open, things are open, so it's kind of semi back to normal, semi.
Yeah.
Although it feels weird, like everyone's still wearing. Like I went to a pub like a few days ago, maybe last week.
Oh, you didn't waste any time, did you, Rose?
No, well, I did. No, I didn't go for a long time, and then because I think it was open for a little bit.
Yeah.
Before I actually went, it felt weird. Like the menu, you had to download the menu on like your phone using like a
this is
QR
what they're doing
code.
in Spain as well. Yeah.
Yeah, and I'm like, what? How do I even download it using a QR code? I'm such a grandma. I'm just like, I don't know how to do this. And then you have to like, all the servers are obviously wearing masks, and then it just feels so weird. And I'm like, apparently this is the new normal, which I don't like.
I know. Do you think that maybe like, I mean, I think once we come out of this situation, the corona is like, we have a vaccine and stuff. I wonder if like a lot of businesses are going to continue some of these practices. Like, for restaurants and stuff, it might be easier for them just to have digital menus because they're super easy to change. And so when people arrive there, they just look at their phones and that's how they order. And then they don't have to print menus and do all that other stuff. And,
maybe.
Could be.
I don't know.
Do you like to have something in your hand to hold, Rose, and flip
through
the pages?
I'm a grandma and I don't know how to download a QR code situation.
God damn, Roses.
I know.
I also don't know how to download a QR though. I just took a picture of it and it pulled up the website.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah. But that's what we did. We were in Spain and the same thing happened. Me and my friend, we went for my last like dinner before I left.
Right.
And we went to this restaurant and it had the same thing where it's like these QV whatever codes.
QR,
QR. She puts her phone over and then it pulls up the menu on the website or something.
Yeah, but I think you need an app that reads the Q. Actually, I don't know. Maybe iPhones do some kind of reading on its own.
It was an iPhone, yeah.
Right. Anyways, well, I mean, do we have a topic today or are we just...
sure do. You know what our topic is
Daniel,
today?
What be our topic, Daniels?
So our topic today is the SaVeg Slice episode 2.
Oh my God. I still can't get over this name.
I know. You like hate it until you come
Welcome
up
to
with
the
something.
SaVeg Slice.
Yeah. Until you come up with something different, Rose, that's what we're keeping.
God damn, Daniel. I mean, I think most people think it'd be corny as hell, but we gonna go with it.
It's true. We have actually a lot. Like, so we have
Do
a
we?
lot. Yeah.
Okay, so if you guys don't know the SaVeg Slice, oh God, every time I say it, I cringe. But anyways, Daniel's favorite segment.
So what is the SaVeg Slice, Rose?
It's basically where we give you advice on your random life situations and problems that you may have.
Yeah.
And it's kind of like chatting with us as friends, and we just kind of give you our take on your situation. So you can always submit your questions or problems to us by email or DMs maybe.
Both. So I've been looking at, either slip into our DMs on Instagram at the SaVeg Podcast, or send us an email, thesavagepodcast@gmail.com, and just maybe put in the subject line, SaVeg Slice or advice or something. And I've kind of just been keeping track of those. So yeah, just continue to do it because this is going to be, I think, once a month thing that we're going to do. So yeah, keep them coming, guys. This is like fun. And we did the first episode and we've actually gotten some pretty good feedback, and people were like, "Oh, we were unsure of the situation, like what it would be like," and actually people really enjoyed it. So that's
Sweet.
good.
Okay, let's just jump straight into it.
Okay, shall we? Oh gosh,
ain't nobody got time. I'm busy now, Daniel. My cafe be open as hell.
That's true. When do you have to be back? You have to be back in like an hour.
God damn, I gotta go back in like in about an hour. Yeah.
Oh god damn. Okay. All right. So, oh gosh, this is a very long one. So I'm gonna read the whole thing. And
okay, sure.
I haven't even looked at these before, so this could be interesting.
Oh, interesting.
All right.
Okay.
So, situation 1. All right. So I'm gonna. It's a novel. A little backstory. I'm vegan. I have been vegan for almost 5 years now. I went vegan overnight for ethical reasons, and I made that connection about 6 years ago when my dog died. I went vegetarian overnight too for a year prior to becoming vegan until I discovered the horrors of the dairy and the egg industry. Fast forward to 2017, this person met their now husband in 2017. They got married at the end of 2019, actually just a couple of months from where we are now. He wasn't vegan when they met, But after planting some seeds, he went vegan too, and all was good and well. They even started a fully vegan bakery business together.
Whoa,
Oh, that's
okay.
cool. When we decided to get married, because of they're an interracial couple, our parents insisted on having 2 weddings to satisfy both families' traditions and cultures. One was fully vegetarian, the other was fully vegan. We seemed to be on the same page ethically, morally, and even discussed raising vegan kids and starting a family. I couldn't ask for anything more. So that's the backstory.
I feel like I know what's coming.
Yeah.
Okay, keep going.
Oh, God. But now, for some reason, he completely threw all of that out the window and is back to being a complete meathead. And I mean complete,
What?
even more so than before. He orders McDonald's like almost every day, has chicken and beef on the same plate, and eats no fruit or veg, and actually eats in front of me like it's no big deal. In the beginning of this meathead phase, I tried to be understanding and tolerate the fact that perhaps he's on his own journey and that he will be vegan again in his own time. But the truth is, I can't deny the disappointment and hurt, especially since he knows I went vegan for specifically ethical reasons. I tried to discuss my concerns with him and how uncomfortable it makes me feel to see him eat this food and all of the red meat in front of me all the time. He was willing to compromise and said that he would not eat it in front of me. But us living under the same roof is hard to avoid having meals together. I have cooked vegan meals for him and said encouraging things to him, but nothing seems to work. The bottom line is him purchasing those horrendous foods wherever he eats them. The bottom line is him purchasing those horrendous foods, whether he eats them in front of me or not, ultimately bothers me. Now I feel kind of cheated, like he wasn't the person I married, because to me, it's not just about the food, but more of the ethical and moral standpoint. And there's no denying that this has put quite a bit of strain on our relationship. Quite honestly, I'm frustrated and sad, and I just really, don't know how to deal with this. So what do you think would be...
Ooh, that's a tough situation.
This is
that is a very tough situation.
This is heavy.
Yeah, I'm sure it happens to a lot of people because, especially when it's so difficult because I'm sure they obviously love each other, their husband and wife, but then
exactly.
It's like those ethical things are really important,
100%.
like that's like your, and the fact that they got married at that time and they were kind of on that same page ethically,
and that same journey together,
all of a sudden for him to just go 180. And I just wish I knew a little bit more about his reasoning as to why.
Yeah, she didn't. This person, she or he, didn't actually.
I think you just insinuated that it was a she. It's fine if you. I think it's okay if we say if she or he.
Yeah, true. It doesn't really specify in this the reasoning why, and it's a tough one because why has he all of a sudden done this kind of 180, especially because I feel like. Because they're already living together and they're like obviously married and stuff, like ultimately it was like, for example, I just think back to when obviously we were never married, me and Rose, but I think back to when I was living with you and even before I was vegan, I was vegetarian, but like even before I went vegan, primarily because we were cooking together, it was just easier just to eat vegan food, even though at that point I wasn't vegan, but I was fine. I didn't mind. And so I just don't understand why all of a sudden he's had this kind of...
I just feel like, okay, obviously I'm just... Sorry, I just interrupted there.
No, fine.
I feel like potentially, this is just my assumption based on what I just, heard.
Yeah.
Potentially, he maybe never really made the full ethical connection. Yeah. And he simply went vegan because she was vegan.
Yeah.
So, you're dating a vegan and you kind of get, persuaded, because it's easy to get persuaded when you're dating somebody and, you think you've made some kind of, connection.
Yeah.
But really, it's mainly because you're in that relationship and you kind of feel like, oh, yeah, like it makes sense. But you haven't fully made that decision yourself. Like he didn't himself. Actually, I don't know, right? Like, but based on what I can see, she obviously kind of like pushed him toward that direction. Yeah. And I'm sure in some points he was like, yeah, that totally makes sense. Like, I'm totally going to go vegan. But then after a little bit of time, if you did not, take that proactive approach of making that decision yourself, then you haven't had those internal conversations with yourself for you to make that kind of lifelong decision.
Exactly.
So I feel like maybe, especially when you're first dating, you want to like impress each other. You want, you want to be on the same page, and maybe you want to get married. So you think like, okay, we kind of want to be on the same page. And then after you're married, I mean, this happens in different ways as well. Like after people get married, they just kind of like, maybe they put less of an effort to the relationship. That could be potentially it. So that he doesn't care as much about maybe like impressing her. I don't know.
Yeah.
What do you think?
No, I agree. I mean, again, this is just such a tough one because, I mean, from the sounds of it, they've been together for like two and a bit years before they decided to get married. So they've been together for, a fair amount of time. And they even have a vegan business together. So they started a vegan bakery,
what happened
right?
with that? That's crazy.
Yeah. And I get what you're saying about maybe he hadn't fully made that connection.
Yes.
So
I don't know. It's hard for us to give advice because obviously we're not going to be like divorce him. Like,
no, of course not.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And it's tough because it's like this is the problem with marriage.
Yeah, and I'm sure that like they've been having, like, it sounds like they've been having these discussions, and it is putting a bit of a strain in the relationship. I mean, I guess my only suggestion, because it is a tough one, like I'm not going to say, oh, you need to divorce your husband or anything drastic like that, but like maybe you need to. Obviously this is a pain point, and I think the more that you guys sit down and talk about it and find out maybe like what are his reasonings why, like why has he all of a sudden decided to go back to eating meat? Was he feeling like maybe I can't think of a logical reason, to be honest, but let's just pretend he was thinking that he was having some kind of health deficiency or whatever it might be in his mind.
Well, I mean, he wouldn't be eating McDonald's is my understanding.
No, this is so
but
true.
Yeah, I mean, it could be that. He could honestly be thinking that.
Yeah, let's just say that that was his reason. So then if you uncover that in a discussion, then you could talk about, well, actually there's ways that we could address this with vegan foods that maybe we weren't eating before, but we need to make sure that we're taking a supplement or eat a certain type of produce that is high in a certain vitamin that maybe he was lacking or something, right. I think there's a ways to adjust your vegan diet to be able to combat, I guess, those concerns if he had any of those. Do you know what I mean? Like, it's just such a tough one.
I'm just feeling like, I feel like it really depends on the person. Like, it depends on her and what she can deal with in terms of, can she deal with a non-vegan partner? Can she deal with the fact that they may not have, they may not be raising vegan kids? Can she deal with the fact that, ethically they're not, obviously they're not as aligned as she thought it was, as she thought they were. I don't think he's a bad person because he stopped being vegan, but, everyone has kind of a different threshold as to like how much they can accept in terms of the non-vegan thing. Yeah. So this is like impossible to actually give our advice on because I don't know, it sounds like she's very, ethically driven to be vegan and, so it's going to be a really tough battle.
Well, I think part of it too, as I guess in the beginning, not that this really makes that much of a difference, but in the beginning when they started dating, he wasn't vegan. So I guess. Right. And he's gone.
Like he wasn't vegan in the beginning. Right. Yeah. And then he went vegan.
Exactly. So
that means, so you're saying that like potentially she could be okay with the fact that he's not vegan because he wasn't vegan when they started dating. Yeah. Right.
But I can see how she like would feel this kind of like sense of almost like betrayal a little bit.
I mean, I would feel the same. Yeah. I would totally feel the same.
But I mean, again, we're not saying that this person's husband is a bad person or anything. It's just that, I don't know. She's just having
I feel like it's, because the thing is, sure, maybe he wasn't vegan when they started dating, but like dating is very different from marriage. Yeah. You know what I mean? So it's like the fact that he's vegan may have contributed to the fact that they got married. Exactly. So that's a very big, it's a big thing, especially if they have a vegan bakery together. They talked about raising vegan kids. He knows the ethics behind it. But at the same time, it's like if you push him to go vegan again, it's like that's going to build resentment as well. Yeah. So it's going to put a strain on the relationship regardless, I feel like. Yeah. So there needs to be some kind of I guess, compromise,
Yeah, I guess
you know,
I think
in some way.
I think that's the biggest thing. It sounds like they're trying to work out some compromise. Like he's saying he's not going to eat this food in front of her. So, I mean, but I guess maybe that's what needs to be the next steps is like understand, I guess, his reasoning, talk about it, communicate is the communication I think is the biggest thing. And yeah, just come up with some compromises and things to make this work, you know.
Oh God, it's so difficult.
Yeah, it's a really tough one. And I'm sorry that you're going through this because that's, you know, it is frustrating.
Yeah.
It is, you know, I would feel the same. It's almost like if you're marrying someone because, you know, like let's say I liked somebody because they're, I can't like a really athletic or something. And then all of a sudden we get married and they decide to, you know, sit on the couch all day and do nothing, you know, it's like, that's not who I married.
Yeah. I mean, that's a shallow example, but you know, fair enough. I mean, it's not too shallow, actually. It's still, still is an indicator of that person's values.
Exactly.
And
this is because fitness to me is part of the reason why, there's the aesthetic reason that I like fitness, the shallow reason, but also fundamentally, it also tells you a lot about who that person is in a sense that like, you know, their physical activity, the things that they like to do, their drive. I don't know. I think there's a lot of stuff that can be said about that. So that's, a little side note.
Oh God. This gives me no hope.
Oh gosh, Rose, don't say that.
You know, see, because like my kind of, you know, my plan, is to meet a potentially non-vegan man and turn him vegan and then marry that ass, you know, have vegan kids.
Yeah. So you know what? I think that sounds like such a great fantasy, Rose, that we should pitch it to Disney. I think they'll make a Disney movie of this storyline, you know?
It can happen. It can happen.
I know. I'm just kidding.
Or maybe, you know what? Maybe I'll meet a vegetarian, you know? And then, because like they're easier to turn. You know what I'm saying?
Oh my God, that's too funny. Yeah. But it's
somebody that already cares a little bit about environment and animal rights.
Yeah.
Because, you know, it's hard to turn somebody that doesn't have any awareness of that. But somebody that already kind of cares a little bit, you can kind of like, you know, sway them further.
And also, and I think, you know, another factor that maybe doesn't sway them so much ethically, but just for like a matter of convenience. Like, for example, if you're living together, like, and you guys are cooking together and stuff, it's going to be vegan food. Do you know what I mean? So in many ways, they'll start to shift to be vegan anyway. You know what I mean?
No, but that's not being vegan. That's just eating plant-based food.
That's true.
I need the ethical. It's like this person. I need them to be on the same page ethically.
That's true. Yeah.
But that's going to be difficult.
That is going to be hard. That's a tough one. So
yeah. Oh,
I mean, sorry we couldn't give more kind of like
so
concrete advice.
Give,
this is a very difficult situation. And again, I'm really sorry that you're going through this. But
maybe
again,
you could give us an update later as to what's happening. Let us know. That's really shit. I'm sorry. But hopefully you guys can work it out. Maybe show him a few more of those movies.
Oh,
I don't know, man.
Some documentaries.
Oh, we need to do Daniel and I need to do a little documentary night.
Yes, we do. We definitely do.
All right.
Gosh, we need to watch, what is it, Earthlings?
Earthlings.
I'm not
We're going to
ready.
do it, Daniel. You are ready. You need to do it. You're not fully vegan until you've seen that.
Yes.
Okay. Next one.
So that was our first situation. So situation 2, this was actually, it's not so much of a life situation. It's more of a question, but it's from one of our Patreons.
Oh, cool.
And basically their question was, and this one's actually an interesting one because I know it's quite controversial within the vegan community as well.
Oh,
so
shit.
It's talking about the consumption of eggs, particularly free range eggs, and also eggs, for example, that if you had your own, you know, chickens and that kind of stuff.
Right.
So just generally, what are your thoughts and my thoughts on consumption of eggs?
Okay, so I haven't done too much research on this, but I have heard that, first of all, chickens don't actually lay eggs that much. So I've heard that they lay like maybe like once, like a human, like once a month or something.
Yeah.
Naturally.
Yeah.
But because of all the ways that we modify them, they lay eggs at a much higher rate. Now, I don't know exactly what their natural rate of, you know, laying eggs is, but I've heard it's much, much less than what we think it is, basically. So the problem with, and so that's one thing to consider.
Yeah.
Second thing to consider is this kind of, how do I say? I guess it depends on your, what's the word, intention in a way, because if you got backyard chickens just for their eggs, I do feel like in some ways you're just telling yourself it's better, but like
you're technically still kind of exploiting them.
Exactly. Like, is it hurting them? We don't. Oh, that's another point, is that I heard that when you, again, I don't know if this is fact, but I heard when you take their eggs, they get stressed out or something. There's something that happens to them. They get stressed out and they don't really like it. So that's another factor to take into consideration. Now, do I think it's the worst thing to have backyard eggs and have their eggs instead of buying eggs? No, I don't think it's the worst thing. That's probably the best thing if you actually want to consume eggs. But I also think that it's a slippery slope to another. It's a slippery slope in a sense that if you start consuming eggs in your home, what's going to really stop you from consuming eggs, in a restaurant? Like, it's something you eat already. You see it. You already see it as food. Yeah. So I think it makes it more difficult for you to continue, the egg, non-consumption thing, Yeah. What do you think?
No, I agree with you with most of your points. I can't even speak today. What's wrong with me? I agree on most of those points. I think, again, if you're getting like backyard chickens, like you said, I think a lot of it does depend on the intention. If you just, it's kind of a difficult one though, because like if you have backyard chickens that are laying eggs and then you're taking them to eat them, even if your intention originally wasn't to take their eggs to have the backyard chickens, they were just pets, but they've laid eggs now and you've decided you want to take them, then kind of like you're changing your intention of why you're having chickens in your backyard.
Right.
If that makes sense. Because then you're starting to use it as a food source. And then also I think, again, that's a strong point in that as well, is that it does, I think, and again, I haven't done enough research on this either, but I do think there is something to be said about it causing stress to animals, because like think about like whenever birds like make their nests and stuff like that, if you're taking stuff out of their nests, like they're going to get stressed out, so it's not going to be beneficial for those chickens. It's going to put them in, unnecessary stress and stuff. And I mean, really, you don't need to eat eggs. You know what I mean? Yeah. Like this is at the end of the day, again, why are you eating this egg where the actual like yolk and everything is meant for like a baby chicken to eat and grow and within inside this, egg, basically. And it's supposed to be energy for a baby chicken, not for us.
Yeah. It's supposed to be, well, okay, I don't know exactly the science behind this, but it's supposed to be like a hen's like a menstrual cycle, right? Yeah. So and then some of them, I guess, turn into chicks. Yeah. I don't know how it works.
Well, they have to be they have to be fertilized, I think.
Right.
I don't know enough about this, but I think like that's why you have to have a rooster chicken, and then the chicken lays the egg, and then the rooster fertilizes it or something.
I have no idea. Yeah. But I feel like you don't need to see it as food, and there is no need for it. So. Yeah. I mean, if you feel like that's the only, like you have to have eggs, then like maybe that's the only way. And it's also like, I also think to myself when I think of these things, it's like, is this sustainable for everyone? Like if everyone started doing it, is it moral? Is it ethical? Is it sustainable? Absolutely not. We can't all have our own backyard chickens,
exactly.
So you have to think about it that way. When you have a moral or ethical question, ask yourself, can everyone do this? And will the world still survive? Because that's one thing that I ask myself. Yeah. And, you can't. You can't just all have backyard chickens, grass-fed beef, and all this shit.
Well, that's actually really a really good point, because I never thought of it like that. It's like, think of it the bigger picture and think, okay, I, for example, might be able to have chickens in my backyard, but like there's plenty of people that, if everyone did, basically it's just not feasible for everyone to do that. Yeah. And that's why it's so funny when you see like, well, the people that are saying that this is sustainably sourced meat or sustainably sourced. And it's like, well, actually that's not sustainable.
It's not sustainable.
So you can't really technically call it that, because it's not feasible. Yeah. So I think those are my main thoughts on eggs as well.
Yeah. I mean, I think if someone, obviously, if they have a food scarcity issue, that's a different issue. Yeah. But I think we're talking about people that don't have a food scarcity issue and they just want to eat eggs. And in my opinion, like, it is more ethical to just avoid eating the eggs. And I heard that also, like, people that do raise like backyard chickens or rescue hens that don't eat, the people that don't eat the eggs, they'll like refeed it back to the chicken. I know that sounds gross, but like apparently they they lose a lot of calcium or something like that when they they lay eggs. And then by eating the eggs back, they like regain back the calcium. I could be wrong, but I heard that's what people do. So instead of eating the eggs, you could just be feeding it back to them, I think. But again, don't know everything about these chickens and
Yeah.
their laying process. Leg egg laying
egg laying process.
egg laying process. God damn.
Nice.
Okay.
That'd be a tongue twister as hell. Try to say that 10 times fast, Rose. God damn.
What's next, Daniel?
So the next situation. So this is another interesting one, and actually very, very timely with everything that's going on with, Black Lives Matter and everything else.
Oh, interesting.
So
Okay.
how do I not freak the fuck out of relatives being racist or denying racism exists?
Oh God.
So how do I not freak out at the relatives that are being racist or denying that racism even exists?
Fuck my life.
I know. These are some
what do
hard
you think?
questions this time. Oh,
Yeah. What do you think, Daniel? You want to answer first?
I think this is situational, not situational. Because the thing that's tough is like I've had conversations like this with some of my relatives, and I think a lot of it, and we kind of mentioned this before in the last SaVeg Slice, actually, when we talked about, grandparents and, if they're asking you to get certain foods and like, this kind of stuff. It's really challenging because I think with my parents or with maybe some of the not younger, but like my aunts and uncles and things like that, I think I would be a lot more vocal about situations.
Oh,
like not
okay.
I wouldn't get like aggressive or anything, but like if something came up about racism and stuff, I would definitely say my 2 cents, in a polite and respectful way, because it's still your family, right? I don't want to get into an argument with anyone about this. Where I do find it really challenging sometimes, and actually I'm quite lucky that most of my grandparents are very open-minded, but sometimes with the older generation, they can be kind of set in their ways in some respects. So I can talk to them about racism and things like that, but and they for the most part get it, but then they'll say a certain comment or a certain thing where you're just kind of like, oh, you know, I'm not sure they really fully understood that. But again, like we're talking about people that are in their 80s and stuff. Like I'm not about to, get into a heated discussion or anything like that with them, because I also think we have to be careful with, and I talk about more more elders, is that, I just really feel like you have to show them a certain level of respect. You know what I mean? Like they've been around for a very long time.
Well, you don't necessarily have to show them respect depending on who they are. It just depends.
That's true.
If they're shitty people, you don't have to show them respect. I'm just saying,
true.
like, respect is earned.
No,
but I get what you're saying, though.
I'm
I get what you're saying.
I'm meaning my family.
Of course. Yeah. I mean, but in terms of generally, just because someone is older doesn't mean that they necessarily deserve your respect. But I mean, yes, I get what you're saying in that, like, they've been around for a while. They've seen different things. They grew up differently. So I think that those are important. In a different
era. Yeah. So you're right. No, that makes sense. Like, I'm not saying like all elderly and older people, but I'm just saying like the ones that I know that are my family, like, that have supported my parents and whatever else, like I need to show them a certain level of respect. So, I still have these actually really good discussions with them and stuff, to be honest. And again, most of them are really open-minded, which is I'm really thankful for that. But if they weren't, I would still, I would take it with that particular generation, I'd take it with more of a pinch of salt, I guess.
Yeah.
I don't know. But then when it comes to the other members of the family, like my cousins, people that are my age, I would be a lot more, if they're like talking about like racism doesn't exist and stuff, I would be a lot more vocal. Yeah. What about you, Rose? Let's flip the camera and the coin over to you.
Yeah, it totally depends on like who you're talking to. And it depends on like, again, so many different factors. Like, what are they saying? Are they saying like super, racist things? Or are they, saying just a few little snarky racist comments? Again, none of this is good, but there are, there is a spectrum of how racist you could be, right?
Yeah. No,
so like,
this is very true.
Are they going around saying the N-word in front of you? Like, what's happening? Like, we don't know, right?
Yeah. So
it depends on the spectrum of how racist they're being, I guess. I think if they were being like super racist, I would have a tough time spending time with people like that. Yeah. And like, I mean, the thing is, I think that it also depends on how close I am with these people. True. Are they is it just some uncle that I never see and I see maybe once a year? I'm not really going to try to like convince him otherwise, if he's like super racist, I'll probably just like try to not spend too much time with this person.
That's
you know
true,
what I mean?
Yeah.
But if it's someone that you're close with, that you can talk to, then, you know, obviously try to remain calm, because I don't think I think most of racism and any sort of discrimination comes from just plain ignorance, basically.
Yeah.
So it's not necessarily that they are bad people. It's just that they may just not know a lot of things. They may have not spent time with people of another, you know, race.
Yeah.
So they have their own, you know.
I echo that like 100%.
Yeah.
And I like to believe this as well, because I think, you know, I do think there's some legitimately racist people out there that are just blatantly like they've met people of that race, and they just, for whatever reasons, they're just, you know, not great people. But I do believe that there's a lot of people that it is kind of, and I think it's because I look at like, well, obviously racism a little bit different, but like, you know, like homophobia as well. I think a lot of people that are homophobic, it's because they maybe they haven't been exposed, and it's the fear of the unknown, right? So
Yeah.
and I think it's the same with racism. It's a sense that like, if you, for example, you grew up in a very white community and you didn't know any other Asian people or black people or anything, naturally, well, not naturally, but like you might inherently be a little bit more racist initially, until maybe you make a really good friend that happens to be black, or it happens to be Asian, or a different, you know, different nationality, and it kind of opens your mind up, and you say, oh, okay, this isn't this isn't so so scary. So I think for the main takeaway for this question is, it's situational. It depends on how. It depends on how.
Every question that comes.
Yeah, it depends on how well you know this relative, right, and how often you see them. Because you're right. Like if it's somebody that you see at the annual family gathering, really just go to the other side of the table where you're getting the punch, and walk and talk to someone else, you know?
Yeah.
And then also, I guess I think age of the relative kind of factors in a little bit as well.
Yes.
So,
and also it depends on like what you're talking about, because you can have an intellectual discussion, you know, about, for example, if you're talking about like systemic racism or something. I think I would, you know, I would try to be as knowledgeable as possible, so that I could be like, well, what, you know, kind of like teach, you know, use that opportunity to kind of, you know, spread awareness in not just saying like, oh, you're being racist, but like actually having maybe certain facts, maybe knowing a little bit about the history about it. And that would help, because you're not just, you know, talking about your feelings and how you're feeling, but you actually have some facts with you.
I think that's a really good point. Come very, very prepared with lots of information.
So try to have a, you know, civilized conversation, even though you might be getting angry. But I think it's good to try and stay calm. Just like, you know, even when you're talking about veganism or something, I try to stay calm, even if I'm like, you know,
raging
getting annoyed.
inside.
That they're like saying the same dumbass shit as they usually do, which is plants feel pain. Like, oh my God. Like, try to stay calm and just try to have a conversation with them.
No, I think that's really good advice. I'm gonna take that for my next argument, Rose.
Goddamn, well, I'd be so good at the advice, Daniels.
I know. Goddamn, you'd be like.
That's why Daniel always come to me for the advice.
Oh, goddamn, you'd be the advice guru.
Okay, next. Is there another one?
There's 3 more.
Oh, goddamn, do we have time? Okay, go.
Goddamn, this is crazy as hell. Okay, so what is the most jealous you or a partner have been, and how did you resolve it? And where do
this
you
is too personal.
Where do you draw the line on certain restrictions on what you're comfortable with your partner doing, etc.? Checking other people out, hanging out with friends of a certain gender that they are interested in, etc.
Do you want to answer that, Daniel?
You putting the pressure on me. I am the coordinator and the questionator. Okay.
Questionator. The questionator.
No, so. I mean,
are you a jealous person, Daniel?
I can answer this question really quite easily. Not easily, but me personally, I'm not such a jealous person. So I don't get super, super jealous. And about partners, I've had none. So
oh, goddamn.
No. I've had a few partners, but like nothing like super serious. I've never been in a situation where, you know, me or my partner has been, you know, really jealous of each other or what they're doing. And I think with regards to restrictions, I think this is a conversation that you need to have with your partner as to what you're both comfortable with, because, you know, maybe they also have things that they're not comfortable with you doing, you know, and I think if you're putting on all these restrictions, I guess my question is, do you not trust your partner?
Yeah.
Because I think ultimately the whole idea of a relationship, I think, is built on a foundation of trust, right? So if I'm with my partner, I need to trust that, they can hang out with whoever they want to, and I shouldn't feel fear that, they're going to, cheat on me or do whatever else. And like, with regards to checking out other people, I mean, I would just hope that out of courtesy, my partner wouldn't do that necessarily in front of me, or they would do it like sneakily, or not sneakily, but like, it's not something you would be blatantly obvious with. And if they want to check out other people when I'm not around, I just don't really care. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But that's me. That's how I would,
yeah. I'm the same.
Yeah.
I think I'm very similar. Like, I don't get that jealous, and I don't know, maybe I think everyone's different in their level of jealousy. I think it also depends on, there's a few things to look at, right? If you're talking about your current partner, right, and you're always feeling insecure or thinking that he or she is cheating, and thinking that he or she is always checking other people out, is it really that person, or is it your insecurities? So you don't, because it could be either or both, right?
Yeah.
Are you really an insecure person, and do you always get jealous, or is it specifically in that relationship? So those are questions you have to ask yourself, because
or also maybe this person has been cheated on in the past and they have an issue with building trust and this kind of stuff. So I think it's something where you have to take a little bit of a reflection on yourself as well, and say, why are you needing to develop these restrictions, I guess? And then if you do need to develop them for your own like personal, reasons or whatever else, that's fine. But you need to have that discussion with your partner so that they understand as well what's going on and what restrictions, I guess, are in place. And like,
the restriction thing is a bit weird. Like, I don't understand the restriction. It's not weird. I don't want to say it's weird, but like, no. I would never go into a relationship and think like, we need to have certain restrictions. Do you know what I mean? Like, obviously there are certain things that I think are, without having to say them, it's kind of like obvious. Like, obviously you don't, sleep with somebody else or something, or make out with somebody else, unless you want to be in a, open relationship. Then you can have that conversation. And that's totally fine. If you both are on the same page, then have that conversation. But I think the kind of the norm and what is like expected without a conversation is that you are in a monogamous relationship if you are in a relationship. Yeah. So until you have a certain conversation, otherwise that's the expectation. So I wouldn't, so for example, like if my partner was hanging out with like some, a girl or something that he's friends with, I don't think I would be that jealous as long as I trusted my partner, you know?
But this is the thing. I think it comes down to fundamentals of trust. And also a big one is, like you said, you need to have those. I know I say this all the time, but it's about communication. So you need to understand with this partner that you're with, what are you guys, for example? Like maybe they think you're in an open relationship, or maybe they...
they think you're not in an exclusive relationship. Exactly. Like, have you had this discussion? Because like sometimes I think nowadays especially, a lot of people get into these like pseudo relationships where it's like they don't actually know where they are.
Yeah, they haven't discussed it. So I think the biggest thing in this situation, I know. The biggest thing is just like to discuss with your partner and just establish like where you are before you think about these restrictions and stuff. Like, are you guys seriously dating? Or is this something that's casual? Or and then you can start. And like you said, if it is something that's like different, like an open relationship, you need to develop restrictions or rules, I guess, per se, if you want to continue with that. So yeah, I think this one's just kind of like about the communication with your partner. And if you do find yourself as a really jealous person, maybe think about the things you can do to try to not be so jealous, I guess.
Well, I think about why you are being jealous and, is it something to do with you or is it something to do with your partner? Because...
Have they broken your trust before and this is the reason why?
Exactly.
Because quite often if you've had a partner that's cheated on you in the past, but you've stayed together, then but might naturally get jealous, which is understandable because you don't trust that person anymore. So you're right. You have to kind of establish, where is this jealousy coming from? If it's you or your partner who's jealous, and why. And if it's your partner that gets really jealous, you might need to ask them, what's going on? What's the situation here?
Yeah. All right. What's next?
So the next one. Okay. So the next one is, this is another, gosh.
Oh God. Is it deep?
No, it's a difficult one. Just because it has to do with weight, and I know this is something that's we've both kind of struggled with. But
lay it on me.
So this person, they've been struggling with weight for 4 years in school, lost and gained a lot. So they kind of yo-yoed a bit. Since being out of high school, the past 3 years, they've been pretty stable with their weight and eating behavior.
Okay.
I've always had a big appetite and have gained some weight during the quarantine. This person says that they want to get pregnant, but they feel a bit uncomfortable with their body at the moment because of the weight gain over the quarantine. And they're scared of gaining, I guess, additional weight, which might be hard to lose after the baby, I guess. Do you have any tips?
I think that it depends on if you want to get pregnant. I feel like you're going to gain weight anyways.
Yeah.
So it's like, I feel like if you wanted to get pregnant badly, then it's something that you just are going to have to deal with. And even if you lost some weight now, and if you're going through, like, for example, if you try to lose weight now, it's going to probably hinder your chances of getting pregnant, I feel like, because you want to be at a healthy, I mean, I don't know how much this person has gained, right? So we don't know, but you also don't want to push yourself too much to lose weight in a short period of time, because then you're going to be potentially putting your body in a situation where, it's not in the optimal time to get pregnant. I don't know, right?
It's a tough one. And I'm going to be completely honest with this person, because I've had friends that have had babies and, stuff like that. So one of the things that you have to remember, being pregnant and childbirth and all that stuff, it's like, I don't know, because I've never obviously done it, and I never will. But apparently it's a really amazing and, really incredible experience. But at the same time, you have to remember, especially if I don't know if this is this person's first pregnancy, but I think it sounds like it is. You have to remember that after a pregnancy, like, your body is changed forever. So the amount of, because when you're pregnant, obviously you have just like hormones raging, and you have like lots of different things that have happened in your body while you've carried this baby that are like, you can still lose weight and everything else, but things have changed in your body. And so they can change it in so many different ways and so many different factors. And one of them can be that after you have a baby, it might be, you might be more difficult for you to lose weight. It might be more difficult for you to do certain things. Like your body will change in ways that nobody can predict. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like, some people, they drop the weight afterwards, but they won't be able to eat certain foods, or, your body basically, it changes. Yeah. So if you're going to be pregnant and you're getting ready to have a baby, it's exciting, but at the same time, you need to be prepared that your body is going to change forever. Change.
Yeah.
But at the same time, I think once you become a mother, like, obviously your health and everything is still really, really important, and your body and everything. But I think small weight changes here and there are beginning to become less important.
Yes. I think your priorities will definitely shift. Obviously, like, we are not mothers, so we do not know. But my kind of prediction is that you would care probably a little less. I mean, again, I don't know what your, situation is, but I would imagine that your priorities will shift. So I mean, I guess it depends on how badly you want to be a mom. And if you want to be a mom, then, I mean, maybe you could wait a little bit and, like, lose off some of that quarantine weight first. I don't know, but do it in a healthy way. If you're yo-yoing all the time, that's not good. You got to do it in a healthy way, and that's going to take longer, unfortunately.
Exactly.
Well, and also, I feel like when you gain weight during quarantine, for example, in the last few months, I mean, there's a chance that you're going to lose it, because it's like vacation weight, right? Like, you're not going to keep it on forever.
Exactly. Well, and it sounds like this person had been struggling with weight for a while, but since they've left high school, they've actually gotten a manage of it. They were really stable with their weight and eating behavior. And it just sounds like just over the quarantine. And like you said, I think this person should kind of look at this as, quarantine is not a normal circumstance. And it's like we haven't been exercising as normally as we should. We're not out and about, all this stuff. So naturally you are going to put on a bit of weight. But as soon as we get back to normality, which we're starting to already, your body is always trying to reach a state of equilibrium, right? So during the quarantine, the reason you put on weight is because, you're not exercising and stuff, you're still eating a lot. So your body's naturally going to gain weight. But the second you go back to doing your normal routine, your body should go back to how it was before. Or an initial kind of, But I think, think about that. And I mean, if you want to have a baby and everything, like, congrats and, good luck and everything, but just keep that in mind that your body will change, and in ways that you can't predict, and, you don't know what's necessarily going to happen. Right. So,
Good advice, Daniel.
That'd be my 2 cents.
Yeah. I think you're going to be fine. You're going to have a nice, beautiful baby. You're going to be happy. And even if you're a little bit, more, if you have put on a little bit more weight, then that'd be fine.
Exactly. More, what is it called? More cushion for the pushing.
I was gonna say, you'd be a little bit softer for the baby,
Exactly.
Like the baby gonna be comfortable in the mother's touch.
This is what I'll be telling myself as I've gained weight over the quarantine. God damn.
I can see people, I can see that is a legitimate concern. Like I would definitely be concerned about that as well.
Yeah, definitely.
So, yeah.
So this brings us to our last one.
Oh, God damn. Okay, lay it on me.
It's a short one, actually.
Okay.
Okay. Interesting. Okay. So this person, my girlfriend is not vegan, but a lot of the food she eats is vegan by accident. Is it good or bad if I'm trying to get her to eat more vegan food because I don't know whether this is me forcing this on her or not?
Oh God, it's like similar to the first one, kind of.
Yeah.
It's so hard with partners.
Yeah.
Because it's hard with everybody, but I think with your partner, it's like you want to be on the same page. So it's like, I feel like more than anybody else, I want my partner to be on the same page. Even if my family members, like they don't, if they don't follow vegan, it's like, okay, but this is like potentially your life partner or whatever it is.
True.
So it's hard, but yeah. So what do you think?
I was going to say, so like my thing, so if I start initially dating someone, this is just the initial phases. Okay. So what I think I would do in this circumstance, again, this person, they didn't give that much context. I don't know how long they've been seeing this person or whatever else. So I think that will change. But for me, the way that I initially approach this would be like, I guess if we're like going out to eat somewhere, like if we're going out to a restaurant and stuff, I'm not going to like, okay, let's say we go out to eat and I want to go to a vegan restaurant. That's something different because everything is on the menu is vegan. But like, let's say we go to a different restaurant and I'm ordering the vegan thing and they want to order something else. I'm not going to necessarily give them a hard time about that. I'll just be like, but on the other side, the other side, if they're coming to my house and I'm making food, or if they're inviting me for dinner and they're making food, it's going to have to be vegan. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, 100%.
And I don't think that that's me necessarily forcing it on them. I just think it's just them accommodating me and me accommodating them when we're out to eat, if that makes sense, So I think in that regards, I don't think it's necessarily forcing somebody to eat vegan. And I would hope that like my partner would kind of be like excited to sometimes go to vegan restaurants with me and stuff. Do you know what I mean? Like that's something different for them initially. And they'll be like, oh, cool. Like I hope that whoever I end up with is open-minded enough to be able to do that, So I think, with this situation with your girlfriend, I think, hopefully she's also open-minded and you can get her excited about trying vegan foods and going to like I really want to try this vegan restaurant because they have this like really cool thing. And if you get excited, maybe some of your excitement will be infectious and they'll get excited and say, cool, let's go try it.
Yeah. I think
maybe I live in a fantasy world. I don't know.
You definitely live in a fantasy world. I'm not sure about this particular situation, but I think I guess it depends on what you mean by you're forcing her. Like, are you constantly suggesting that she should eat something vegan, or are you just taking her to vegan restaurants? Like, what's happening? We don't know the context, but like, you're right. If we went to a non-vegan restaurant, which first of all, my first choice would be try to go to a vegan restaurant if you can, or a vegetarian restaurant. So just so that you don't have to even like have these weird, awkward conversations of what what you might want them to order. Cause like, you don't want to control them. You don't want to, make it seem like you're trying to, again, force them into your behavior or whatever. But if you go to a vegan restaurant, then you don't have to, feel weird about it because, there's lots of food. You don't have to have
those discussions.
Exactly. Yeah. So that would be my first choice. My second choice would be to cook for her, make food for her. That's, unfortunately it's going to take a little bit more effort on your part because you're the vegan. So you're the one that kind of wants to, eat the vegan food. So, you're going to have to make a little bit of that effort. And, I think it's nice and romantic if you cook for your partner.
Definitely.
So
I would love someone to cook for me, I love it when you cook for me, Rose. It'd be romantic as hell.
Yeah. I do a lot of cooking. You know what I'm saying? For men. I'm just kidding.
for your channel. And I was gonna say, I have to
God
say,
damn.
I have to give you a little compliment, Rose.
Oh.
Your cooking has come a long way.
That sounds like a backhanded compliment, Daniels. God damn.
I
God
just
damn.
remember, not saying that we ate like bad in London or anything, but like looking at your stuff now that you make on your channel, and I'm just like, why couldn't she cook like this when we were living together? You know,
Daniel, I learned a lot. Okay, well, I mean, you be making curry every day. You still be
That's
making
true.
curry every day. God damn. Anyways, so yes, cook for the partner.
God.
Okay, that's a great thing. Okay, so first
Yeah.
choice, vegan restaurant. I mean, I also feel the same. Like when I'm like dating or something, obviously I want to like, encourage going to the vegan place, but you also feel weird because you're like, by choosing a vegan place, am I kind of, forcing them to go to a vegan place? You know what I mean? So I kind of understand.
I don't think it is though, because think about it like I would think about it like this.
I think
It's
you
just
would
like
feel
picking a
that way if you were. No, but I think you would feel that way if you were, in a relationship right now, and then you always felt like you were choosing the restaurant.
Vegan restaurants. Yeah, true. But I mean, I guess, oh God damn, it's complicated
But I
as
would
hell.
I would hope that my partner would, would want to go to a vegan restaurant.
No, definitely. This is the thing is like, I want somebody that's like, has that kind of enthusiasm to try new things. And,
I know.
for
but then
them,
they
maybe
would think that you're pushing that shit on them.
Oh God. Well, then they're not the one for me.
Goddamn, we gonna be single forever.
This is why I'm alone. This is why I'm alone and in my parents' basement. God damn. I'm a catch, Rose, I swear.
You are a catch. You're too good for everyone.
Unemployed.
Living in your parents' basement.
Oh God.
Forcing guys to go to vegan restaurants.
Yeah. Making them pay because I'm unemployed.
Oh God. Okay. No. I changed my answer. My answer because of the awkwardness of you always just suggesting a vegan restaurant. Try to cook at home more often, make vegan food more often. So that when you eat out, it's not like you're always going to the vegan restaurant, but like overall the amount of food that you're eating is going to be more vegan.
Exactly.
And also, show her a few documentaries if,
if she's interested. Well, hopefully she'll be interested. And also, if you are cooking a lot at home, there's a really, really great YouTube channel that you should check out for recipes called Cheap Lazy Vegan. So you can get some recipes off there, cook your girlfriend something really nice from that channel, and there you go.
Oh God damn, Daniel, I'll pay you later for that. Okay. All right, guys. So I think that brings us to the end of our segment.
Yep. What's the segment called, Rose? Please tell me.
The SaVeg Slice.
Yep. So that is the end.
I'm
of
about
the
to
SaVeg
slice my
too.
wrists right now.
God damn. So
just kidding, guys. God.
Thanks everyone who submitted those situations. That was really, really fun. And yeah, again, if there's other people that are listening or watching on YouTube and you have some, questions or things that you want us to talk about in this particular segment of our podcast, then again, feel free to slip into our DMs, the SaVeg Podcast, at the SaVeg Podcast, or send us an email, thesavagepodcast@gmail.com, and we will add those to the next segment of the SaVeg Slice.
Damn, these were really good. I enjoyed them. So send us more, guys.
Ones. Yeah.
Yeah. The relationship ones, the vegan ones. We love all those. God damn. Anyways, guys, thank you so much for listening. Make sure you check us out on Patreon if you haven't already, and become part of the Patreon family. And also check us out on, YouTube, Instagram, all of those fun things. Okay.
Thanks, guys.
Thanks, guys. Bye.